dum. Yai da 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 yai dum. Yai da dum. Ay 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 ya da dum. Ya da 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 dum. Ya da 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 ya da da da. Yai da 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 I dum. Yai da da. Ay 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 ya da dum. Ya da 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 da. Ya da 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 ya da da. Ya da da dum. Ya da ay ay da dum. Ya da da dum. Boker Tov, good morning. Here we are in Ki Tetzei, the second part of our learning together, and then, of course, tonight I'll have some more teaching. Missed you guys yesterday because I had a funeral to do, but let's continue our conversation. So, another piece of this parsha is the idea of being responsible for one another, the holiness of kindness, to set up a fence or a security net, a safety net, before someone falls. So in this parsha, among, as we discussed, dozens and dozens of mitzvot, there's something practical, a practical commandment. Could you imagine that? The Torah says, when you build a new house, you shall make a parapet for your roof so that you do not bring blood guilt upon your house if anyone should fall from it. So in biblical times, roofs weren't simply a roof on top of your head. They were living spaces. People gathered there. They ate there. So think rooftop. They slept there when the weather was warm. And so Torah says, if you're going to build a house, you better build a fence around it. Ma'akeh. A protective barrier. All right, that makes sense. Better put a fence around it so nobody falls. But I think there's something bigger happening here, because notice what the Torah doesn't say. It doesn't say, if somebody falls off your roof, help them. It says, don't wait for them to fall. That is an entirely different kind of responsibility. We're very good at responding to emergencies. Someone gets sick, we bring them food. Someone suffers a loss, we show up. Someone is struggling in whatever way it is, we ask, how can we help you? And those are definitely sacred things beyond. But Ki Tetzei asks something harder. What if we noticed before the crisis came? What if we built a fence before someone fell? I think there's this eye-opening, profound difference between reactive kindness and preventative kindness. Reactive kindness says, you're hurting, what can I do? Where preventative kindness says, what can I do so you don't have to hurt alone in the first place? Let's think about how this might look in ordinary life. Checking on a friend who's been unusually quiet before they finally say they're struggling. Including the person that tends to be left out before they even have to ask whether they're invited. Offering help to an overwhelmed parent before they reach a breaking point. Calling someone around the anniversary or yard site because you know the date might be difficult. Making a building accessible before someone has to explain why they can't enter it. Creating a community where people feel welcome before they ever have to wonder whether they belong. Those are all fences. In our family, we have several people with celiac and gluten allergies. And so it's like deciding to have dessert at a bakery that has no gluten-free options. We don't do that. We call ahead and say, hey, what are your gluten-free options? For every restaurant, for every theme park, for everywhere we go. When my Crohn's was very active and I was not well a few years back, it was, where is the nearest bathroom from point A to point B? Knowing in advance so that there wouldn't be any kind of struggle. And perhaps some fences are also built, those are the action fences. Some fences are built with words. I'm here. You don't have to do this alone. I thought today might be hard. I saved you a seat. Let me take something off your plate. These are simple sentences. 5 little makot. 5 little ways of saying, I noticed before you had to ask me. And there's something deeply loving about it, because sometimes asking for help itself is exhausting, embarrassing. You don't want to burden someone else. Sometimes you don't even know what you need. Sometimes your pride gets in the way. Sometimes someone's been so strong for so long that everyone assumes they'll simply continue to be strong. And the Torah says, don't always wait for the person standing near the edge to tell you they need a railing. Build it. But I think this mitzvah also asks us to look inward. What fences do we need to build in our own lives? Because boundaries can be sacred also. Maybe the fence is saying no. Maybe it's protecting time for your family. Maybe it's turning your phone off. Maybe it's recognizing that constantly running on empty isn't sustainable. Maybe it's asking for help before you reach the point where you have nothing left. We often think about boundaries as keeping people out. But sometimes boundaries are actually what keeps us safe enough to remain open. Sometimes boundaries are actually what keeps us safe enough to remain open. And here's another detail I love. The Torah says when you build a new house, not after you live there for 10 years, not once somebody gets hurt, not from the beginning, build care into the structure. Imagine if we did that with our communities, our families, our relationships, our workplaces. Instead of asking how to repair people after they're hurt, what if we built systems where people were cared for from the start? Yesterday, Ki Tetzei taught us, don't look away. When you see somebody in need, respond. Today takes us a step further. Don't wait until there's something to see. Pay attention early. Anticipate, protect, and care. As we reflect on this parsha, as we come closer to Shabbat, who in your life might be standing a little closer to the edge than anybody realizes? What small fence could you build around them today? And maybe just as importantly, what fence do you need to build for yourself? In this week's Torah reading, Ki Tetzei, we're reminded to care for one another, but not only after something goes wrong. Sometimes the holiest thing we can do is make it less likely that someone falls in the first place. Maybe we become people who notice early, who anticipate needs, who create safe spaces, who respect boundaries, who offer help before it's requested. May we build families and communities surrounded not by walls that keep people out, but by fences of compassion that keep one another safe. Because sometimes love sounds like, call me if you need me. But sometimes a deeper love sounds like, I know you. I thought you might need me, so I'm already here. Beloved friends, we are one human family, one heart of abundant love. We love you. We'll see you back here tonight at 6:30. We have a lot to think about. Let's notice, but before we notice, let's anticipate. Am Yisrael, Am Yisrael, Am Yisrael Chai. 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 Ora Avinu Chai.